So yes, the Vivo X300 Ultra is finally in, and this video is all about my first impressions, because let's be fair, I've been using it for 1.5 days and there's so much more that I can learn when it comes to the Vivo X300 Ultra. But nonetheless, let's see what it can do, starting in Ghent. Now before we begin, let's have a quick rundown on the specifications. It comes with a 6.82 inch AMOLED display with a refresh rate of 144Hz. You get the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, and in terms of memory configurations you get 16GB of RAM and 512GB of memory, or 16GB of RAM and 1TB of memory. In terms of battery, it's a 6600 mAh battery with 100 wired charging and 40W wireless charging. And then we come to the part that we really care for, and that is the camera setup. We get a 35mm equivalent main sensor that has an upgrade to a 1/1.12 inch sensor size with an f-stop of 1.85. It's a 200 megapixel resolution. For the ultra wide, it's a 50 megapixel resolution with a 1/1.28 inch sensor size and an f-stop of 2.0. And then we come to the periscope, and this one is a bit of a conversation. Yes, the f-stop has gone down. We don't get that f-stop of the X200 Ultra, but instead we get an f-stop of 2.67. This does mean that less light is allowed in because we don't have as much of a wide aperture. Now in terms of sensor, it's the HP0, the one that we've seen on the X300 Pro. And in terms of sensor size, naturally, it's a 1/1.4 inch sensor size and a 200 megapixel resolution. However, I will be seeing how this one performs compared to the X200 Ultra naturally in my comparison. And there's more to the conversation than just the f-stop, but we do have to discuss it because it does make a difference. But we're gonna find that out later, how that performs in comparison to the X200 Ultra in a separate comparison. And one thing that we really gotta discuss as well is of course the video recording capabilities, because it doesn't only allow 4K 120 frames per second of 10-bit locked video, it also allows it on all sensors as well. And of course, this Vivo X300 Ultra comes with some new attachable lenses as well. Either way, let's find out how it performs when it comes to the camera. But before I do, this needs some work. Ghent is a beautiful city in Belgium. Now, I've been here before, where I actually met a subscriber of mine who gave me a little bit of a tour around the city, but also allowed me to test out the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. And with petrol being so expensive and this not being crazy far away, combined with the beauty of the city, this felt like the right time to come back. Now, Ghent is a beautiful city because it has this kind of old Dutch-French combination when it comes to the buildings, giving this city a lot of character. A good place to test this out. Now, naturally, this X300 Ultra and its photography kit come with this filter attachment of 67mm thread. Now, I'm using a combination here for this shot, using a polarizer for less reflection and black diffuser for a softer shot, but also some bloom around the brighter parts, giving this dreamy kind of look. And with an ultra wide that is this good, it's a really nice shot to create. Now, this is the famous location in Ghent on the bridge itself, and yes, there were a lot of people around, and normally I would capture a wider view of it, but honestly there were just too many people on the road itself to being able to capture a clean shot here. And next to it the weather wasn't playing ball at all, but finally I managed to get a good shot in. And then we have customization, and it's really a part that I want to highlight a little bit longer here. Because I always say, when it comes to photography, preference is one of the major roles that you cannot ignore. When it comes to the camera hardware, sure, you can have the best, but if it doesn't fit your style, it technically can be the worst for you to have, because it isn't the style that you like in terms of photography, and that part really matters. It's like a millennial that has that white hospital look. Seriously, what's up with that? I'm a millennial, I don't like that. To a person that likes a bit more of that wood texture, a bit darker colors, something like I have on the background itself. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the millennial is wrong in terms of that style. That's their preference, and this is mine. And that part really matters. This is also something you will notice in movies. This is also something you will notice in music. That preference is a big part. But what if I told you that now you can customize it so much that that might play a little bit less of a role? So with the Vivo X100 Ultra, if I'm correct, they introduced this setting where you can change your sharpness, your contrast, your saturation and brightness. And that alone already made a big change to my photography experience on Vivo. But now with the Vivo X300 Ultra, they have evolved that, allowing me to customize it fully to my liking. Sure, there are some parts that will still play a part when it comes to the photography side of it, and having that kind of soul in the shot that is really hard to replicate with just settings. But when it comes to customization, this is next level. And not to mention that often I get questions when it comes to my Vivo settings, what I'm using. But now I can share a QR code. So if you have the Vivo X300 Ultra already, be sure to check out that QR code and scan it with your phone. It will then be imported in your phone and you can test out the settings that I've been using. Do keep in mind, I've been using it for 1.5 days, so the settings aren't finalized for me yet. I need to test it in different environments and see what I like best. Like for instance shadow, do I want it more, do I want it less, do I want a little bit of grain in it, and so on. Either way, this is a segment that I really wanted to highlight before we continue in Ghent. So let's continue there and showcase what this Vivo X300 Ultra can do so far in this initial impressions. Now, there are still a lot of things that I need to test out better on this Vivo X300 Ultra, like this new Filmic style in video. The fine tuning of my own style based on size natural will probably get some tweaks here and there along the way. More video testing in general, including more mic tests to see how it performs there, and naturally a lot more next to it. But I wanted to showcase what it can do so far in these first impressions. but more will follow when I have been using this for a little bit longer to give you a proper judgment on the performance of the camera. So stay tuned for that. At the end, when it comes to the Vivo X300 Ultra, this is a phone that I need to test a lot more to see what it is capable of, allowing me to, of course, like stated in the video itself, get that customization perfectly how I want it. But apart from that, what do I think about the Vivo X300 Ultra? So far, it left good impressions. I really like that customization that allows me to create it to the next level, where I really feel like I'm getting more of that shot that I want, especially when it comes to shadows, because I like my deep shadows. And that comes to play when it comes to playing around with this Vivo X300 Ultra, and that part I really like. Now, there are some things that we have to see in the future how it brings, especially when it comes to comparisons, like that f-stop difference that we have now with, of course, the Vivo X300 Ultra versus the X200 Ultra. And of course, we gotta see how that stability is when it comes to this Vivo X300 Ultra, because there are some real improvements there when it comes to that. And this is something that I really want to test as well. But again, I need to use it a little bit longer to see the effect of it and showcase it to you. But so far, when it comes to the Vivo X300 Ultra, it's a really good phone so far. But we have to test it longer. Of course, these are our initial impressions for a reason. So, these are my initial impressions of the Vivo X300 Ultra. Let me know if you have any questions about it, specifically about the device itself. And of course, I'm gonna test it out more and see how it performs when it comes to the camera, and stay tuned for some exploring as well. Either way, before we leave, I really want to thank my members. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And of course, for you guys, RAW files will be available to download. And if you want to become a member and have access to those RAW files, you can click join somewhere below. You get access to these RAW files at any level. It's simply a way to give back to people who want to become a member. Either way, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe and everything. Talk to you guys in the next video, which probably will be the Vivo X300 FE and then some other videos in between. Either way, stay tuned. Talk to you guys in the next.